So I'm going to go over a few of these different little jobs. I found something very interesting that at the breakfast place I was at an interview with the two managers, the assistant manager. Um, they had offered me um, pretty low pay, but kind of teased it on like, well, with the credit card tips and all the pooled tips, everybody pools the tips, so you'll be making huge money every day and all this. And it's like, one, there's no guarantees. Two, it's not quite spring break yet. Yeah, it could probably be really outrageously good at spring break, but should be running your wheels off. Um, and then they require a uniform, which by law they're supposed to supply your uniform. Um, and it's so tedious that they want you to wear black jeans, um, black or blue jeans, like dark, not faded or anything. You can't even tell the difference between the two because she brought over a server, and this, which was really weird, was the server had Crocs on, and Crocs are not restaurant shoes. Those would be very dangerous if you were to spill coffee, on your feet, hot coffee. That's a serious thing, and it does happen in a breakfast house. And for the slip factor, for any spills or just trying to get through the kitchen. Um, Shoot, a crab trap, that was about the most dangerous thing. They have an ice machine in the waitress area um, that it's probably about 30 foot long, maybe. And it's all tiled in, but it has a drain uh, that, I mean, you could trip in. And then this machine, most of the time the people open it, they empty a ton of ice in the floor. Nobody cleans it up. And it's just like ice in a puddle. And unless you pay attention to that floor when you're walking through there in a hurry, you'll fall. And I slipped twice on that stuff myself. Um, and one piece of ice will make you skate. Okay, so that's super dangerous. But and even with restaurant shoes. So that job offer, I looked on Indeed today, and they had brand new 1 day ago job offer for the same job they offered to me. And it went through all kinds of little details. Obviously, they have a slight problem hiring people because they don't tell them all the details. Because not only did she require, these black jeans, which now I would have to go buy a bunch of black jeans, and I priced them at Walmart, and you're talking, $19. And because of my living situation, I would have to have like 7 pairs of pants because I can't do laundry every single day. Um, so that's pretty costly. When I already have like 20 pairs of black pants, because most other jobs just prefer you wear, black pants, and then, a certain color shirt or something, whether it's food and beverage or whatever. And that's not too terrible because I've always had a lot of black pants because, I bartended tuxedo service and all that kind of stuff. So you always have black pants and tuxedo shirts. But anyway, so, and I'm not a big fan of black. It's a depressing color. Um, yeah, I look good in black, but it's just a depressing color. I look happy, you know. So anyway, and plus black gets ruined in the restaurant biz around bleach and stuff. Um, so the pay seemed very low, and it seemed kind of shady the way it was described to me in the tipping area, where they pull the entire house of tips amongst the employees, and then you don't get that money but on your paycheck, so now they're going to tax it. That's another problem. But then it had all this list of stuff from trimming the brown off the plants, cleaning both bathrooms, and this is for hostess, and then setting up this thing and setting up that thing, and seating customers, making sure to be aware of who's on shift, who's not on shift, or who's on break. Um, and then of course there's rotation. Now, I don't know how they did their system. A lot of these restaurants are adopting the iPad system, and the server walks around with an iPad slung over their neck like a pocketbook, which to me that's kind of dangerous because that's $1,000 item, and it can get broken really easily, and it just to me it just seems like more trouble than it's worth because I came from the day of serving where you didn't even use paper. If you were good, you could do a 10 top, 12 top in your head and then run over and write it all down to get it up for the chef. And this is before all the serious automation. And people were entertained by that. So, if you have to spend the time entering all this junk in on an iPad, it just seems like it would just take so much longer. Although with iPad, then it generates, the order to the chef and all that. And then what if you change that order? And it just seemed kind of problematic. It seems like it's taking longer than it needs to. Um, uh, they developed a system in the casinos when they opened in Tunica that was a computerized automated system where as soon as you got the customer's orders, then you went up, by the cash register and you entered all the food stuff in and then hit go and your name was on there and everything else and your table number and all that. And so it was all very nicely done. That was a big thing, the touch systems. They didn't work too good then, but they got better as they went along. Um, and the biggest problem is just keeping them clean, from the fingerprints and stuff, and they'll work well. But so yeah, that hostess job, I went on Indeed and they had a list of chores you were to do that she didn't tell me anything about. Now I spent a couple hours with the manager and assistant manager over there, so already I'm losing money because I'm not getting paid for that. And she was like pretty much begging me to do it, and the biggest turnoff was to be there at 7 in the morning. Because I mean, I just it puts me in a bad situation. For me to be there at 7 in the morning, have to drive to take a shower. You can only go so many days without a shower, uh, and then and you're driving city to city, and drive back, and then you're gonna have spring break traffic. Uh, you know, you got to have at least an hour's time, not counting the shower. And then an hour to get ready, throw a face on, change clothes, be on the property, be ready to walk in the door. You know, that sets me really early in the morning. Now, when you're boondocking, the biggest problem is getting sleep, which is really hard to do. You are up sometimes all night long, every other hour, because of noise and stuff going on around you, people that pull up next to you and pee on your car, um, the stereos, the fighting, um, uh, people that pull up next to you and they sit there texting for hours with the engine running, so now you've got the exhaust running into your car. Last night was really bad because they were doing some kind of burn, and it was just, at one point I woke up and it was just pure smoke. I thought the car was on fire, and I'm breathing this stuff. I'm like, I probably won't wake up in the morning, but I did. I'm here. um and that the biggest problem is nothing really settles down till stuff closes, and still it can be problematic through the night, so you'll get woke up through the evening. And so you know I usually get about 3 to 4 hours sleep a night total, combined effort, so it makes it really rough. But like I say, usually it doesn't start really settling down, where you don't have the boom boxers and all this other crap. Um, or people pull it up near you and they're real loud talking, like yelling at each other, kind of thing. And I mean, there's nothing you can do. You can't like get out and go, "Excuse me, I'm trying to sleep," because you're in a parking lot. So uh, it's very very hard to get sleep unless it's like after you know 10, 11, 12 at night. Um, so that's a huge, huge, huge concern. Um, now, this this new job that apparently they've hired me for, um, the manager says, "Well, it's not 25 an hour, but he made an offer of like 18 or 19," and I'm like, "No, not happening." One, because it's way too much they were asking for. I told the guy 7 days and nights a week. I take 4 days off a year, and they're absolutely mandatory for me. Mother's Day, Father's Day, my mother's birthday, my dad's birthday. Period. Um, and so you're lucky to get that. And I'm still an employee of my stupid job, but you know their hours are restricted this week and next week, uh, and they do love me. So they can't schedule me in anything at all, not even 5 hours. But I mean, I basically lost that job because of that other job I had that never could get the schedule out in due time, like Saturday night, Friday night, when people's schedules start Sunday. At my little stupid job, this chick, she does the scheduling like middle of the week. She's got that stuff ready, which is a good plan. The further you can do it in advance, the better it is, because then when people say, "Oh, I can't work that day," or "Can I come in late that day," or "I got something I got planned that day," they, they can make adjustments and not be stranded on the shift being short people. It's all in advance. So that's a huge plus if you can get that schedule done in advance. You have less problems with people going, "Oh, I can't work this, I can't work that," and get it. And you kind of have to cater to it nowadays. A lot of these employers have to put up with that crap, you know, and the, the earlier they get the things set, the better off they're going to be, so they don't have to make constant changes or be short people or have to come in and work it themselves. That's the biggest problem. You got employees that aren't showing up, you got to work it yourself. And it takes time to train somebody new to bring them in. So it's very, very problematic. And most companies today do not do overtime. They hate it. Although Crab Trap run more overtime than I ever saw in my entire life. And it was beyond belief the overtime they run. And that owner just passed away this year. Um, he must have been made of money. But anyway, so um, you know that messed me up with my second job I had. I was just kind of put off the workforce because I couldn't provide a schedule because that other job just couldn't get their act together. That management was very casual. The 19-year-old girl really didn't know how to do any management at all in any kind of way. My youngest daughter is like the superwoman of the year as far as working in management aspect. Um, she can get the job done. She's really good. And as a matter of fact, this job that I'm taking would be great for her. And it would be excellent money for her because she could do it. You know, my problem is it's the guy's like, "Okay, so you would have to be here at 7 a.m. You know, on the early days of your schedule, but you'd be working some closings, some openings, and you would open the store at 7, even though the store doesn't open at 7, and then you would um, uh, count the pans, Set everything up, the alarm, da da da, and you know, open the store, and then you might clean the bathroom every once in a while. I confirmed with him. I said I'm not moving furniture like big cabinets full of crap like that other job, like 15 cabinets and all that. No, uh, and uh, and right now because the store's so shorthanded, they're like getting everybody to help. And I mean, they're short about 8 employees to really make it function right. And so um, everybody has to help with like unloading a truck, which they're like 20-pound boxes, I guess, from what he says. And now this is retail ready to wear. But the trucks only come during business hours because I asked him. I said, I'm not doing this 3 and 4 in the morning thing. It's not happening. And he's like, oh no, they only come during business hours. But we all go back there and try to help. And I'm like, okay, now I'm not sure how many trucks they get a week, but I'm sure during spring break it'll be more. Um, and it's not the busiest retail store. It's a huge amount of square footage. It's just not a real busy place. Um, so, not that I've seen anyway. So, uh, it kind of it more or less caters to like the 50 plus crowd. So, you can imagine it's not an incredibly busy store. They have some awesome deals. I mean, there's stuff that young people would like in there. There's some neat stuff in there. And the prices are really, really, really good on their sale merchandise. I mean, really good. Um, and But anyway, so their open wage is 15 there. There's nothing lower than 15. Um, and he had said, well, it's your job is not going to be like 25 an hour. And I'm like, so what are we talking? He's like, said threw a number out like 18 or 19. I said, no way. There is no way if you want me to come in and open a store at 7 a.m. when it's not even open yet, and be counting safes and pans and setting the floor up and letting employees in and all this other stuff. And then I would be in charge of 3/4 of the store, handling, overseeing all that merchandise, doing the weekly markdowns, and it's with a scan tool and all that. And then um, uh, um, teaching salespeople their job, um, which right now is a lot of older ladies, which that could get problematic. Who knows? It depends what you got to tell them and if they have any experience in retail ready to wear. Um, it just depends. It's kind of like goes back to the story. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Um, so I don't know how that's going to end up. They do not tolerate the phone thing. So you won't be jacking around on your phone during the whole shift. It's not happening. So that's a nice thing to know because, it's really aggravating when you're trying to approach an employee and you need to give them a direction or something and they're playing on their phone. They're busy, you know, any more than being a customer. I think the thing I can't stand most as a customer is going to the check stand in any business and the employee is talking on the phone or live on the phone or running TikTok real loud. And it's like they're more concerned watching that phone than waiting on you and you're making their paycheck. I don't care if you buy, 50-cent bubble gum, or you're spending $400. That checker should be paying attention. They're handling money. They shouldn't be talking to everybody else, yip yapping around and talking a bunch of negative crap. Just get that person checked out. Pay attention to the money. Pay attention to the transaction. You know, because that's your pay. Um, and You do not need to be having a phone running or yip yapping or any of that while you're doing a money transaction. That is absolutely 100% wrong. And it makes me feel like nothing as a customer. It's like you don't even care if I buy it or not, you know? And especially when it comes to the point, do you want a bag? And that's the worst question I think on the face of this earth is, do you want a bag? You have all these items. Do you honestly think I brought a bag in with me? Why would you even ask such a thing? It's better just to start packing it up. A customer's going to tell you, oh, I don't need a bag if they don't need one. And it's rare. They want a bag, you know? So, um, but anyway, so, I'm really leery about it because one, if they bounce all my shifts around, say they got me in at 7 in the morning for 2 days and then they flip me around and got me coming in, at 11 or 12 and close, um, you know, which that'll probably be, till 10 o'clock or something. Um, I mean, that's a lot of bouncing of hours, and how am I going to sleep? So basically, on a day where I need to go drive over, take my shower, drive to a different city, go take my shower, drive back, and then have an hour to do my hair, my face, and change clothes or whatever, and be on the property, by the door. Um, it's going to set me at like I have to be up at 4 in the morning. That's problematic. If I don't take a shower, I'm still going to have to be up at around 5 in the morning, 5 to 6 in the morning to get ready. And the next problem is it'll be dark. How am I supposed to put my face on? I don't know if they'll let me do that at work. I mean, yeah, I could go open a place looking like hoodoo. And try to get ready as I go along. I don't know how much they'll tolerate that though, because I'm doing it on company time. You know, I mean, I could do it in pieces, getting ready. Like do my eyes, and then go back later, and then do my face real quick, and then go back later and throw some blush on. Um, you know, that's like a 5 minute thing each time. Not a big hairy deal, but it just, you know, I don't know. I mean, my eyes are black because I don't get much sleep, so my health is not real good. But they do have, health insurance. Is there? I don't know if they pay it or you have to pay it or how that goes. Um, I would be very excited for the dental and the medical, um, for sure. When I was manager of a grocery store, I hit that dental so hard it would scare you. I was at the dentist every week, and because I have porcelain fillings and stuff, and those have to be maintained every 10 years. And at that time, I was having the porcelain fillings yanked out one by one, and I mean the metal fillings yanked out one by one and put porcelain in, because otherwise your teeth look gray. And I was so-called allergic to that amalgamite, whatever it is, that silver stuff. Um, I had a doctor tell me that once you get all that stuff out of your mouth, your health will be so much better. And I was like, really? So I went like every week, sometimes twice a week, and did it on my insurance, and I only pay a very small portion to do that every time I went to the dentist. But it was well worth it. I'm gonna tell you, it was well worth it. Um, but anyway, uh, so I just don't know if this is gonna work well because of my situation. Trying to get sleep, trying to go to sleep before 10 o'clock at night, and trying to be up 4 or 5 in the morning. I don't see how that's going to work out well. In fact, nothing is open. It's not like you go into Walmart, and get some milk or something, or something to eat. And hell, I don't even know that Gongles is open that early in the morning, to get a drive-through frappuccino, whatever it is. Um, I mean, they've got Circle K, Uh, but you know, it's expensive buying those stores. Um, but everything just kind of shuts down. I mean, Florida is, you know, leisure land. There's not a lot of 24-hour stuff. Um, you know, if you're down in the Tampa area, you have more 24-hour kind of stuff. But in the, you know, Fort Walton Destin area I'm in, God, it's like sleeper. You know, it's alive for business hours. You know, as it gets later through the evening, things are closing up, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then it's all done. It pretty much seems like Walmart is the latest thing open. So I don't know. I'm not happy about it at all. As I was like, man, I really don't dig this. Open the doors at 7 to go in and start setting the store up. And he's like, why? I said, because I go to the gym in the morning. He's like, well, go another time. It's like, you know, I'm just not game for it. And yeah, if it's an 8-hour shift, so you get out what, 3? And yeah, so it's just short of $200, like 160 a day pay. God, I used to make that in an hour and a half selling costumes. Um, and you know, I just, how many days is that of that 7 in the morning thing? How am I going to balance if they change all my schedule around? You know, work one day 7 and the next day going at noon, and you know, next day going at 7 and the next day going at 5 or something. It's going to be tight. And will I get 2 days off? You know, or are they just going to work me like 6, 7 days and no days off? I mean, they are strapped for employees right now. And they won't have any trouble in a few weeks. Everybody be banging on the door for a job. Um, you know, do I opt for the cheaper job? You know, I pushed the guy, you know, when he was offering me 18, 19, and he said it's not even $25 an hour. I said, well, what kind of money are we talking? Because, I mean, this is a serious management position, you know, and I'm talking like it's a lead and all that. No, it's not. It's a manager position. With everything they're describing, you have to start counting pans and all this other stuff. That's management. Um, you know, he was like 18, $19. I'm like, no. He's like, well, it's not 25. And I said, well, you know, can you get to 20? I should have told him 23 or 24 and kind of bit him around. That's what I should have done. And he said, you know, well, okay, I could get you 20. You know, so yeah, that's like, you know, almost double the minimum wage for the state of Florida is 11 right now. It was just raised 30 days ago. Um, so you know, my stupid job pays minimum wage, but it's a happy job. I like that job, and I work with some great people. But you know, um, I've only got to work 5 hours in the last month or so because they pulled me. They couldn't schedule me because of that other job I had. They put the schedule out too late. So, you know, it's a hard decision to make. Now, I don't know if they require any particular kind of uniform. I think you just dress nice, and that's all they care about. Like any other ready-to-wear business. Usually, they want you to be really fashionable and pretty much wear their stuff. That's why they'll give big discounts. It's to stop theft, employee theft, and they get you to wear their clothes. Um, you know, that way if somebody says, "Oh, that's a cute top," you go, "Oh yeah, we sell these." You know. Um, so and it represents a company well. If you, the biggest thing is if you ever have to sell anything for a company, you need to believe in it. You really need to believe in it. Okay. So don't get with a company for something you really don't like and really don't want to sell. It's very hard to sell crappy stuff. Okay. Everybody's taste is different, you know. But I do not like to sell crappy stuff and have lots of customers come back because it's crappy stuff. If you sell a really good product, you have less complaints, less returns, less problems, and you don't have to worry to have a customer that comes back, in 1 week that goes, I wore this one time and it started falling apart when I was wearing it, you know. And most people don't know how to sew, and most people don't have a sewing machine, so they're not interested in repairing some junk they paid a bunch of money for that falls apart in an hour while they're wearing it. You know, they're going to try to bring it back and used. They will try to bring it back used, and there's not many places to take back used clothes, much less any used merchandise. So, try to get with a company product you believe in. So, you know, uh, I don't know how this is going to work out. I really don't want to go in and say, okay, schedule me for all 7 in the mornings because I really don't want it. Um, I could take the lower end job. Uh, Now that they're supposed to be sending me for some training that's like an hour and a half away in Picola. What a dangerous place! It's so dangerous now. It's dangerous in the day and the night. Um, and then there's supposed to be a hotel. I don't know how many days it is. I don't know if it's one day, or a week or 2 weeks. I don't know if they're going to pay me by the hour. He did say, well, we pay, mileage. And I'm like, yeah, and my car gets 9 miles a gallon. So that trip's extremely expensive for me. Now, this company, you can get your pay weekly. And I'm sure there's a charge for that. Because it's every 2 week pay, but they do have some option where you can get it weekly. That's a great option for me because I have bills to pay. You know, um, so uh, I don't know. Um, I went and helped a friend out with their store stocking this week. At first, I said, I don't know if I have enough hours. Well, okay, yeah, come on. Okay, yeah, I got lots of hours. I could probably work you the whole week. And I'm like, cool. Then I did one short shift up in there, and that place was a disastrous nightmare. You don't even know till you get right down to nitty gritty. It was so dirty and such a mess. So many messes I had to clean just to stock the place. It was really tough. It wasn't just like loading shelves in a place like empty. Um, and but I mean, I got stuff done. And matter of fact, I was there yesterday, and I couldn't believe the stuff that I did put on the shelves was just about sold out, just because it was there. See, as long as you can get it on the shelf where they can see it, touch it, feel it, they'll buy it. By gosh. So I dropped by yesterday and said, you need some help from me today, which I was told the night before, we'll see you tomorrow, kind of thing, from one of this guy's so-called managers. And uh, he was like, no, not today. um, I got plenty of people today, but I'm considering hiring you to be full-time in stock next month. And I'm like, you know pretty much talk to me today, not next month. We don't know what I'm doing next month. I don't even know if I'll be in the city next month. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So I don't even know if I'll go by there today or call and see if they need my help over there at all today. Because he has a ton of call-ins over there. That's it. That's his biggest problem. Next biggest problem is that Joker told me he has 8 managers. How do you have 8 managers and you're a main manager and that store is empty? Something wrong with that picture. So, um, anyway, I don't know. I'm trying to make sure every day is money. but I got $0.00 yesterday, unfortunately. Um, so I hated losing that money. That's why I gotta make every day worth it in life. Because I gotta keep the revenue coming in, especially with that job that was so hideous, and they only paid me part of my money, and the other comes on the next payday. I had to go through two paydays to get all my money. That's ridiculous. Um, but anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I'm thinking it's not going to work. I'm not going to get any sleep. I'm not a great fan of getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work. Um, Not at all. Other than the fact, as the weather changes, I have to migrate to different places. It's going to start getting really warm, and I can't stay in that area. It'll be too hot. Um, you know, to the point of deadly in the car. Um, I mean, yeah, I'll be making a lot more money, but then guess how much a hotel is going to be during spring break? I've just defeated my purpose. When I could be in another job, you know, for $15 an hour and not have to, be there at 7 in the morning and can have a choice of cities to be in according to the weather. Because I have to watch the weather for every night. I have to watch the hourly weather to make sure that I'm not going to be caught where it's entirely too cold and will kill me in the car, or entirely too hot and will kill me in the car. I have to watch when I need to wake up. So, or I won't be waking up. So there's a lot of factors involved. And no, I did not tell them I'm homeless. I don't like telling people that because then they like feel sorry for you and it spreads like wildfire through the business. And, then people judge you and they don't understand, you know, the different grades of homeless. Okay. There's homeless people because they won't work. They'd rather party. The little bit of money they do get, they party. So they're drug addicts or alcoholics. Um, and then there's homeless people that just got caught in a bad situation and ended up homeless, whether it was short term or long term. I mean, since the pandemic, this particular area is like $2,000 a bedroom in the Fort Walton Destin area. That means it takes 5K to rent something. Okay, so the whole idea is trying to make the money to get something to rent, and it's gone up huge. Where it used to be 600 to 900 a month and 1,000 over the water, and it only took 2,000 to move in. So the whole idea is trying to get money together so that you can try to rent something and improve income. It's like three times of what your rent is, or they won't rent to you. Uh, it just there's just different types of homeless. There's homeless people that you know. I've only heard of two people that really dug being homeless, boondocking in a car, and I said I just can't imagine. It is a horrible life. There's no way I'm digging it. Even when I was on the road and sometimes had to stay in my car at the truck stops overnight, traveling across, country and stuff, delivering California to Florida all year round, and the rest of the time in hotels and stuff, and free comp casino hotels and all that. I mean, I got tired of being on the road. I just wanted to go home, you know. You get tired of it, you know. Your car is definitely not home away from home, you know. So there's so much drama that comes with it and danger, and it's expensive. The gas alone is ridiculous. It is not cheap. But yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, people will judge you. They automatically think, oh, you're a loser if you're staying in your car. Oh, you're a drunk addict if you're staying in your car. Oh, you don't want to work if you're staying in your car. Um, and that's not what it is. You know, People are just now starting to get back into the workforce, you know. It wasn't like before where there was jobs endlessly and nobody was going back to work. They went online if they were real smart, and tons of them did that unemployment thing. Man, I got friends in Bama that were making 1,000, 2,000 a week on unemployment, and they said, "Man, I'm not going back to work. I'd rather take that money." And I'm like, I don't know. Um, and even when my corporate shut down, that I've been district manager for several years, and we were forced shut down because of the type of business due to the pandemic. We just couldn't reopen. It was horrible. And so, uh, um, you know, that was seriously problematic. And, you know, it just, even the owner told me, file unemployment, file unemployment. You don't have to pay your utilities. You don't have to pay rent. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I do, you know. So, yeah, I paid rent all the way through, and my utilities. But I didn't want to file unemployment. I really didn't. I just, any of that welfare stuff, all that stuff, I really don't take it. Um, it's so much easier just to work instead of have to do all that paperwork and be answering to somebody. Um, but yeah, so I don't know, but you guys give me your thoughts. I just don't know that I can hang at 7 in the morning crap, much less, you know, rolling shifts. But I mean, you know, again, if I don't like it, I can quit. I just hate to waste anybody's time. But, you know, like I told the guy, I said, man, I don't like that 7 in the morning stuff. Why? The store's not even open. That store's probably open at 10, you know. I said, look up the hours. I bet it's not open any earlier than 9 or 10. And it's probably 10. I still, you know, a guy at the Dick's Sporting Goods told me to get it online and do an application with him, and he'd hire me in about 3 weeks. No problem. Love to have me. You know, but the jobs would be rolling. I mean, every day I check that Indeed in the morning and at night, and there's jobs coming up every day, little bits of jobs. So, you know, and I keep applying for stuff. But, I mean, I would like to be at like $20 an hour, but is it worth it? I don't know. It just depends. Like I told the guy, I'm not sweeping a mop in your whole store. I'm not moving a bunch of furniture around. I'm not doing it. You know, I am not a janitor. The problem is that store's short staffed. It's over half staff is missing. And that was supposedly, rumor has it, to really bad management they had previously. And it drove everybody out. And you knew when you went in that store. I went in that store 2 or 3 times, and I hated every time I went in there. If you dared to ask somebody a question, it was like they were totally offended. They were really rude. And it's like, damn, I'm just a customer. I just want to spend money here. Why are you being mean, you know, and not helpful? Um, I mean, it could be a serve yourself store, you know, because that's the way it pretty much was before. They have some pretty nice stuff in there. But um, I don't know. I don't know. They ask you a lot of questions about what would you like to do, and I said, well, I'd like to be a designer or a buyer. You know, and they're like, so how many years do you expect that to accomplish that? I'm like, I don't know. I said, I may not even want that job when it comes down to it. We just don't want to disappoint you and hire you, and you think you're becoming a buyer in like 3 months or something. I'm like, no, that's probably not going to happen. It might take many, many years, but it depends, you know. I mean, we can't even predict the future at this point. I don't even know if I like the company. It's one thing to be hired for it, and it's another thing to actually work it. And then what about that particular store? It's like, you know, that place I was just working at that kite thing. I mean, that company is supposed to be great, and all the stores are wonderful, except for the crappy one that I'm in, you know, where the manager gets super aggressive and is harassing and you know, retaliating and all that stuff. And the problem is that everything I said was true. That's the biggest problem. Nobody would complain if it wasn't true, you know. So the best thing to do is do your job, and hopefully nobody will lie or complain. that's that's bottom line. How do you solve the problem? Solve it. It's not throwing people away and trying to lie about their work performance or anything else when you are lacking yourself, when you are not doing your job. And a store really needs a manager. You know, it's just like building a house. You can't build a decent house without a good foundation. It's going to fail. Same thought process, but bring it into business. If your management has no backbone, it's just going to fail. You cannot go into a business and oversee it and not try. You know, you got to constant be trying because they're going to find somebody to replace you. If those dollars are not going up every day that you're there, they're going to replace you if you don't make an effort to try to make that business money. And what I usually tell them is, they'll say, "Why should I hire you?" I said, "Because I can make you money." That's just bottom line. There's no other discussion. I know this business like the back of my hand. I have a college degree in it. You know, I worked it for many years. When I was in high school, they used to send a taxi for me at school in Santa Monica all the way to Marina Del Rey to go work at Theodore's. As soon as I called them on the payphone, I was like, "Okay, I'll be ready, in 20 minutes." And they're like, "Okay, we'll send you a taxi." And that taxi come got me. The taxi walked up to the store, and the store manager stood at the register and paid my taxi out of that cash register. No lie. And I was in high school, buddy. Yep. I think it was like 10th grade. Yep. So, it just depends. The schmata business is the schmata business. It's always been. It's not changed too much, except for all the jobs that were just on uh, commission. A lot of jobs were just commission, or they were payroll versus commission, and they had really low payroll. So you better be making a commission, or you're not going to make any money. And then some are payroll plus commission, and they wouldn't keep you unless you could keep your sales up. So you didn't go in there just, taking payroll. You better get out there and sell. Because, it was like the top 4 or 5 sellers were the ones that stayed with a job there. And we didn't clean toilets back then. We didn't do any more than maybe vacuum carpet in a store. You know. And there's some people that just rather do that. And we tidied up the store a little bit at closing. Made sure everything's hung up right, nothing on the floor. We didn't wash windows or doors. We didn't do any stuff like that. We didn't handle any inventories. Um, it was just you came in and you were a salesperson. You were like God, you know, and you had managers that sat around. They didn't do crap, and they never got commission on their sales. So you sure didn't want a manager waiting on a customer because you'd lose sales. So the managers just handled, the drawer, counting it out, and all that junk, and the safe, and however they did their deposits. A lot of them used to take them with them back in those days, and go take the deposit and dump it. But and they did the scheduling and handled customer problems. But other than that, the salespeople ran the store, you know. And then they had janitors that would come in at night after closing that cleaned. They took the trash out, and they did floors and all that crap. We never had to do all that. Now today they're trying to make us do it all. Save on janitors, I guess. But my last job, it was like they were making me do it all. And that was like before they got rid of all of my coworkers. And I thought about one thing, there's a clean house theory. That guy might have been trying to claim that all the employees were ruining him, but when they figure out when he hires, all these other new employees he hired behind me, um, then it's gonna keep occurring. And I promise you, you're not always getting trash employees, so they'll catch up with it sooner or later. So yeah, but we'll see what happens. But I don't know. Give me your thoughts. I just don't know what this is going to bring. But again, I guess I can always just say I'm done. I quit. Uh, if I really hate it, but I just don't know how I'm going to balance this. I do not like that 7 in the morning crap. Not for retail, mercantile. I'm just not seeing it. No, I'm not. But every day that I'm without pay is not a good thing. So uh, I don't know. Um, Honestly, I'd just rather be doing a stupid job like stocking in a big store. But you have to be careful because some of the stores require you to be there in the middle of the night for their shipments, and you're supposed to be unloading trucks. And I'm not into that. I did that with Schwann's years ago. They didn't tell me about unloading trucks, big tractor trailers, and they called me one night about 2:30 in the morning, and I had a little bitty kid. My daughter was like, God, 4 years old, and they wanted me to leave in the middle of the night because the tractor just came in and his cold truck. And man, you know, uh, you had to go, and it took hours to unload the tractor, and the truck driver wasn't unloading any of that truck. And sometimes they pay what they call lumpers. So if you brought a friend with you or something, they would offer to pay your friend so much an hour to help unload that truck on the side, like a cash deal. And but that, I was mad about that, and they said, well, truck could come in any time. You know, you should expect that. I'm like, well, I wasn't told that. Who wants to get up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning and go unload a damn truck? Do you think I have a babysitter at 2, 3, 4 in the morning for my kid? Really? I mean, geez. And you have to have Eskimo clothes because you're unloading it into a freezer from a freezer truck, and it's really damn cold, you know. And I mean, it's like your face wants to fall off. It is just horrible. So, unfortunately, a lot of these jobs don't tell you all the specs. I couldn't believe I just read that stuff on Indeed for that breakfast house with all this piddly. It was miles of stuff in there. That first of all, that we take pride, and that's like 2 pages of crap. And it's like, and get to the facts. Just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. What is exactly the job description? And boy, they had all that stuff in there. To cut the brown stuff off the plan, set up this station, set up that station, do this, do that, wipe the windows and the glass and the doors inside and out. And it's like, you need to handle a glass service. And a lot of these malls, their maintenance handles the outside glass, period. So you need to call them and go, hey, you need to come by and do our windows. You know? So, yeah, there's too much stuff in the job description that they're expecting and stuff that they don't tell you that's not in the job description. You see? That's the bad part. Mine was stuff that was not in the job description and stuff they decided to give me at that other job, make me do everything because they were paranoid about the corporate coming down to do the inventory and they didn't want the store to look dirty. Well, why was it dirty to begin with? It hadn't been clean for who knows how long. A year? 2 years? That's not my fault. That's management's fault for not keeping that maintained. It's not my job. I wasn't hired as a janitor. I was supposed to be trained to serve key manager with higher pay. He offered me 3 different jobs, saying, "Okay, I can move you up to this, and would you be interested?" Yep. I can move you up to this. Would you be interested? Yep. And nothing was done. But the job got worse and worse. The work we had to do, God, why? And then one coworker leaves, the next coworker leaves. I'm the last one to work. With an assistant manager or a manager that they don't want to stay all day, but now they got to stay all day in closing too, and they don't want to do that. They like to work, 4 hours and leave. So I don't know. But anyway, you guys tell me your thoughts. Again, minimum wage in the state of Florida is 11. And that job, I got him at 20 at this point. And other than that, that's kind of about it. So apparently I was hired. I finally got into their website on Taleo, whatever that is. And he said that was a whole other thing I had to fill out, which it says only fill out the red star stuff. And that wasn't quite true because it kept rejecting. But I finally got into there. That was like horrible to try to get into it. I had to call him and say, it's not working. It won't let me register, And man, I finally Mickey Moused with it again last night and finally got through. And did that stuff, and all it was confirming what we discussed in the interview, pretty much. But I don't know. So they're supposed to be sending me on some orientation or something, but in the meantime, if it falls through, I'm still applying for other stuff anyway. So, but every day as we get closer to spring break, there will be truckloads of jobs. Every day, more and more jobs will be listed. Because no one wants to be left out on spring break. They want that money. The biggest money of the year. So we'll see what we come up with. So comment below, let me know your thoughts. And we'll kind of go from there. Talk to you later. Do something kind for somebody. And I'll see you in the next one. I love you.